erector sets. You know what an erector
Yeah.
set is? And we had some Lincoln logs. But other than that, I don't really remember any toys I got. I did get a pair of ice skates when I was another year or two older, but they were the kind that clamped onto your shoes, and you had a key that you'd tighten it up, and we had a real good time. And I can't remember any Christmases after that I got much of toys. At first, it wasn't too bad because you still had what you had until you lost your money. And then he still had a job for a while, and the job paid something. But the longer it went, the less they paid. The stores weren't, the furniture factories weren't selling furniture, and the stores weren't selling much stuff in the Depression. And then, before the Depression didn't really end until World War II started. And then a lot of the stuff went to the Army or to the service. And, but it was better, you know, at least you had stuff then and you had some money. My dad was working at the furniture factory, and in the Depression, people were not buying furniture. And so the job just kept paying less and less, and then we had a car, and somebody stole it out of the garage, and they found it all burned up alongside the road. So then he had to buy kind of a junky old car because we didn't have, he lost all the money he had in the bank on Black Friday. There was no welfare. There were no places that, like, Social Security.
Food shelters? No food
No
shelters?
food shelters, no Social Security, no dual job, no money came in from the jobs. So a lot of people, younger people or others, ended up as hobos. And we had a lot of guys that would come to the door and knock and ask if we had any food. At that time, we were living in the country where we had a cow and some pigs, a pig, and some chickens, and a big garden. And so my mom would always feed them some, and us kids would sit there and watch them eat. And Mom would always say, "Don't do that, you know, let them eat." But that went on for a long, many years. So he had a cousin that lived in Ohio, and there was a big rolling mill there where they made, I don't know, iron stuff. And his cousin said, "Move over here because we have good jobs here." So he quit his job and we moved to Ohio. And the week we moved there, that factory went out of business. So he did not have a job. But as far as the Depression, we didn't really know at that age, we really didn't realize too much about it. We didn't have electricity, we didn't have water, but my mom knew the difference, you know, and it didn't pick up until the war started, and then everybody had good jobs. But so all my growing up years were either depression or war, and it was we were happy. We never heard. I never heard my parents say, "You can't have that." I guess we didn't ask. I never heard him say, "We don't have money to buy that. We don't have money to get that." Never heard that, and it just didn't dawn on me, you know, that there was a lot of stuff out there. But I thought I had one of the happiest childhoods. We just had fun. We played outside most of the time. But when I went old enough to go to the other grades, I don't know, it just didn't bother me. I never really thought about it because we never had gone shopping and never got a new dress or anything. So my mom made it and I wore it. It lasted until I was 15, up until the war. And then after the war started, everything changed. And then nobody had much of anything because it was all rationed, and the sugar, you couldn't only have so much. You had stamps, it would be like worth 5 pounds, sugar or whatever. And so everybody else was in about the same boat. My brother went to stay on a farm on 27 to help the man with his farming. Howard could milk the cows and do that, and he just lived there. So he'd be there to milk and all that. He'd come home on the weekends. And then all of a sudden, my aunt in Ohio thought she needed my help. I had 2 cousins. One was the same age I was, and one was a little bit younger. I didn't know anything more than what they did. You know, they were boys. And so I went there to live through the summer and help clean the house while my aunt worked and make lunch for the boys. Now they could have done that themselves. While I was there, she was a school teacher, and she taught me how to read dress patterns and how to make clothes. And I made a really nice dress. It really was really nice. I learned how to sew. And then when school time, I came back and went to school. So, and it didn't dawn on me until this year. The reason we were helping out was because they didn't have money to feed us. That's what it was. They didn't have money to feed us. And so my aunts and uncles said, well, come and work for me. So we'd be gone the whole time. And I thought it was a blast. but it was harder on the parents. I don't know that many kids realize so much about the Depression. We didn't have fancy food. If we had potatoes, and we grew those, and we grew the chickens and the rabbits we ate, but I don't remember having big meals. We just had food that came from the garden, really. And but as kids, we didn't know the difference. We didn't know the difference, you know. But my parents did. I know there were a few times when my grandpa had to come and bring a sack of groceries. And that just about killed my folks. It just, they worked so hard and worked so hard. But it was hard, with no Social Security and no unemployment, no welfare, none of the stuff they have now. If you didn't have a job, you didn't have money, unless you had it saved. But then everybody lost it in the Depression first. And whatever you had in the bank was gone, and then they stole our car, and then we didn't have, he had to buy another car. And I don't know how they did it, really. But I don't know. I think it didn't hurt us, In fact, I just remember a lot of good times. I don't remember not having steak for a meal. And my folks were not very good fans of his. But, yeah, we had a radio, and we got that. I doubt, because I don't know. I think most women don't know how to cook now. I don't know I don't think they would know. I don't think they would know how to start scratch from everything. If you had to dig potatoes and clean them, and they might know.